I don't think so. Not today, we're not.
Mayor, council, I believe it says we're live again.
Okay. So let's see, where were we? Council's discussing agenda 7.2.
As I stated, from council member recommendations or insight, I don't have any disagreements with that. The city secretary, that's one change I'd like to see made so that we can have that range. I have no further comments.
Are we looking at or changing anything else?
I would like to cover the police chief's salary. We'd initially workshopped out and agreed at 100,000, and it's been proposed now for 138,000. My initial thoughts are that this is a level set year, and things have been increasingly overinflated in the previous years. We're working really hard to try to build a reserve, a 90-day reserve for the city, especially after having been on the brink of collapse last year. And we're working diligently on trying to rebuild roads that the citizens in the community have been speaking loudly about. And we don't have any budget line item for roads, to my knowledge. Is there any? Well, I guess we can't talk about that because this is just salaries. I would propose that we keep it at the 100 that we initially agreed upon in July, in order to try to tighten things up and rebuild these reserves and hopefully be able to push some of these additional funds into major road repair, not road maintenance. But there's several roads in the city that are in pretty bad shape. Those are my initial thoughts on this one. But in terms of everything else, I'm okay with all the other decisions.
I think it's such an important job, and I think Chief Duarte, you and your department do a great job. I put myself in the shoes of the chief. I would not do that for 100,000. And I think as our city grows, our police department is also going to grow, and we need strong leadership there. I understand we want to save money, and we have a lot of projects to work on for the city. But if the chief is only making 10 to 15,000 more than the other officers, he might not get that same respect, and we're also not going to have that quality of leadership in that role. We might just get another officer with a title, where I believe Chief Duarte, he's built this from the ground up, and he has that experience. I would propose, I do think 138 is a little high. I would propose the salary to be set to 125,000 a year.
I guess I'm kind of in the middle. I understand what Mark's saying with the roads, and we're trying to right size this year's budget. 138 does seem a little high, and then to Matthew's point, 15,000 over the I guess next officer in the hierarchy of the police department doesn't seem like it's too much considering he's the chief. I think the workload demands a little bit more. However, in my research and the population similar to us, the 138 seems a little bit high. I would propose, I believe, somewhere around like 110 to 120,000 in that range.
I do want to also add that he has been going to calls as well, so that's saving the city money on another officer that we would have to be employing and having out on the street, where he's going and backing up officers, so that's saving us there.
I want to add too that I feel like most of these adjustments that we're making are temporary adjustments. while we right size and get the city's footing back underneath them. I think once we get into a better position financially next year, then we can revisit these and, look at increasing them. I just want to make that point that, and I don't want to try to say that I don't appreciate what you do, because I do, and I know that the community does very much. And these are tough decisions that we're trying to make here, but we're trying to make a whole lot of different things work. And some of the other comments, we've got ranges now between 110 and 125. Any other thoughts?
Just the chief had mentioned in past meetings, since we don't have the police department secretary, that you were doing a lot of those duties. So maybe we can take that into account. So he's doing a little bit more work than he was doing when we had that police secretary.
I have a question. On the police officer number 5, all the way across, it shows Dustin Trench's name. Is that position going to be filled now or later or never? He was previous police officer. So he's on the budget area, so I show with you 5 officers plus you make 6. Because you already have somebody for Mr. Rodriguez. You already have somebody for him.
So right now, currently, we have 4 officers and you? Oh, 5 and you. Okay, okay.
And it was my understanding that we were going to do, initially, we were looking at doing 4 officers and a chief, and then we concluded that we were going to add a 5th officer and a chief. Is that accurate?
I have to look at that resolution, or the ordinance that Hayden updated.
And I'd also just like to make the point too on record that when this police department was originally planned and in the initial ordinance, it was planned for 3 officers and a chief. So, and I know that the chief was overpromised and underdelivered and told what he said in his own words, that this was a city that had deep pockets. I don't know who told him that or how it ever got conveyed that this was going to be a huge police force. But the initial project for developing the police force was 3 police officers and a chief, and to bring a municipality in-house so that we could actually make this functional, along with a JP. And I just wanted to make that point from the beginning. So that was the original one, and we've grown now to 5 officers and a chief.
But that's why I was
Dramatically.
asking if we were going to fill that position or not, or since I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance because Hayden revised it, and I can't remember the total on there. I don't know. I want to say 4, but I'm not sure.
My recollection was that
On
we
July
decided on
22nd,
5
we had
officers and a
1,
chief.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total personnel. Because this was the, he was
Okay, so
a
then that,
backup. This was the backup. The
no, the
reserve.
reserve is going into Rodriguez's position.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
And then who's going into-
The reserve goes into Rodriguez's position.
And then who's
So
going
that's-
into Dustin's position?
Nobody. I mean, we
Okay.
don't.
We don't have anybody right now. Okay, got it.
So
So
that's
then
why
that
it would be
means- so
1,
that means
2,
that-
3, 4.
He's going to be hiring somebody because it's in the budget. Is that what it is? So he'll be hiring a police officer because in the budget, or do we need to look at that ordinance again?
So 4 officers and a chief. That's
So-
what I'm looking at right now.
Mayor, council, what can happen is that in the budget process, that you can amend, basically what you're saying is that he's at 4 and 1 for a total of 5 people. You can set that as your authorized strength for this year. And that's what will be reflected when he does NIBRS reporting and, do you get Leo's funds? since they're so new, we do not have a court and we're not receiving any funds from the JP because of that court system, the setup way it is. He's not getting Leo's funds yet. If we end up having a court or if we contract with another city court, then those fine revenues part of those fine revenues will be diverted to our coffers. But then also the Leo's funds from the state, which is in budget, it's in their budget bill. First thing they take care of when the bell rings is there's a line item for the state called, it's LEOSE, Law Enforcement Officer Supplemental Education. And so once a year, they get a check for a particular amount. And for the city of Ulen size, it's probably going to be about $800 to $1,200. But it's a little bit of something to help with continuing education. But a lot of it's based off your authorized strength, because TCO will be made aware of what your authorized strengths are for this department. And so then that's what they do their audits based off of. And when they come in and visit the chief and look at everything, they'll see where he's at from the authorized strength to actual strength. And that tells them, wait a minute, how did you overhire when you're authorized only this? Because then it has to come back to you, kind of like an audit, to make sure that we're operating with the right staff.
Okay, and then I was going to ask my follow-up question. If you eventually hire somebody for Dustin Trench's position, are your hours of service going to change because then you'll be considered fully staffed? Okay, I'll have to look at that ordinance because I think Hayden put the hours of service in there as well. The ordinance that was the original ordinance that we voted to go back for him to go back. I just have to go back and look at it. That's all I have.
And also, while I'm thinking about it in that vein, is that if you also authorize him to allow a reserve or reserves, that is a financial impact to the city. That is a budget impact. So we have insurance that we have to provide for those reserves. Not just workers' comp, but liability insurance for the actions they take while they're under color of law from us. So that's something else that is that covered in your budget? Do you know, for reserves?
I mean, for the cities, the phones, they're under the cover of the city, they're covered.
Okay,
As far as I
so
know, yeah.
if you still carry the authorized strength of a reserve, then he can go out and recruit a reserve that goes out and works basically as a volunteer. But if something happens to him, our workers' comp, or somebody wants to sue us, we've got him insured, or her. So that's what I just want to make sure y'all are aware of that.
Okay, and then I just had one more question. If we do have 5 total officers and the chief, when someone, say for instance, someone is taking vacation or something of that, like, will you still have enough people to cover what we have currently?
So currently, right now, we're operating with 5 total, myself and 4 officers. And so when somebody needs to call in sick or vacation, so forth, then, so the way it works now is we have 2 from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 2 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So let's say if one of the daytime officers is off, then we have to have coverage because there's still an officer there to fill.
Yeah.
And then I'm there as well for backup. And then same with the other side.
So,
If it ever happens where 2 are off during the day, then the one of the afternoon will cover that day shift,
mhm.
and I'm still there for backup. And
Okay.
still have the afternoon coverage.
So it's like 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and then you there if they need you. Okay. All right.
With the schedule, you said 2 come in at 6 a.m. and 2 come in at 10 a.m. If they work 8-hour shifts, instead of covering a 12-hour day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., can we cover longer and go from 6 a.m. till, say, 10 p.m.? And not have the overlap as from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., there's a 4-officer overlap. I don't know if we requires an ordinance or what a change, but would you feel comfortable if we changed the hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
I mean, it's workable.
Okay.
When Hayden was here, we had, I think, the original ordinance stated like till 9 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
So I went and spoke with Sheriff Toledo on the East County side, and then he said we, bring them out on Culver County side, and they agreed it's easier since their officers work 6 to 6, like 6 to 6, day shift, 6 to 6 graveyards.
Mayor, council.
Oh.
Can
We're
we,
getting off topic.
yes,
Okay,
ma'am, can we
I'm
limit
sorry.
this to the budget, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The reason I asked that is, has to do with the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember that we did have lengthy discussion, and I don't have my notes in front of me, but I thought that we agreed on 5 police officers plus the chief, is my recollection of that. I think we should stick with the 5 police officers plus the chief because of the fact that if somebody goes on vacation or somebody calls in sick, or there's just, it's such a dangerous job. It scares me that they don't have sufficient backup. And in regards to the chief's salary, and I know we're trying to save money and we've done a great job of cutting all the salaries and everything like that. But I have to say that for this chief, for future chiefs that want to come here, anybody that wants to look at this, it's such a dangerous job, and there's such a tremendous amount of responsibility over the chief for their employees and the conduct of their employees. I would recommend not changing it. I mean, he's already not getting a salary increase, but I would recommend not changing it from the 138, because when you look at a city secretary, potentially, as high as 101, potentially, I mean, it might be in the 80s, but I just can't see that a police chief would be an equal salary to that. So my recommendation would be to keep the police chief's salary at the 138. He's not getting a raise. And then keep the 5 police officers so that this department has the support that they need to conduct this very, it's a dangerous, and they're out in 100 and something degree temperatures, all flacked out or whatever you call it. And I don't know. I think that we should look at keeping it that way, in my opinion, but I'm just one vote. Thank you.
That's fair. I didn't really think of it in terms of the way that you described it. So I appreciate your input.
And I asked something too, like I'm not speaking for myself, other officers that you got, promised 2 to 1, and nobody got 2 to 1. And I understand financial, things going on, that, that's not feasible at this time, but the officers that are here, they want, most of them stay here. We offer a because he really didn't want to go. I talk to him almost on a daily basis. He's happy over there at San Marcos, but he misses. I mean, I'm sure he's watching this right now. He misses working for the city. But when you start hearing that, there's going to be cuts, possible this salary cuts, that's where he had to get, it's the hustle for him. And so that would keep happening. I would say, the officers that are here now, that they don't want to leave, even though the struggles we're going through and everything. And like when Hayden was here, like we brought up the salary discussion before. I was a sergeant at my last agency. I was making over 100,000. I built the department from the ground up, and I haven't received any raises, which I don't need raises. That's how we finance or any. But like I said, I have a lot of liability on my shoulders. I think my salary is very fair for the area. We did make cuts. I don't have a PD secretary. Another officer position, we're not going to fill that. And I just want to add that. I believe that my salary is fair for what it is right now. And I was working for 2 to 1
Mayor, Council, if I may also add something to Councilman LaPointe's point. Sorry, it just came out that way. In the interim, while we're trying, getting past the budget thing, just for your benefit, I have some time set aside to visit with Chief Duarte, and sometimes a second set of eyes or a third set of eyes to shifts and coverage and call volumes and things like that comes in beneficial. We can talk chief to chief. And I can also talk to him, city administrator to chief of police. I've had that luxury of doing that in the past. So I completely get where you're coming from. I'm not a fan of 12-hour shifts. I'm not a fan of 8-hour shifts. 8 hours are too short. 12s to me, and what I've seen over the years, and the research says that 12 hours are too long, and officers start beginning to suffer from fatigue and sleep disorders. Usually what we're finding in the research is that 10s, but y'all are in no situation in staffing or financial otherwise to do the 10-hour shifts the way they are intended to go. So I would like to spend some time with Chief and help him work, and we bounce the ideas on how we can get better coverage and limit the exposure of one officer at a time on, so that we don't have an officer, because it's just bad practice, bad medicine to start working domestic violences with one officer. And if you look back in the calendar in Muleshoe, Texas, I had a sergeant that was shot working a domestic by himself. And the only reason he's still with us is because I threatened him with days off, and I wrote him up about the mandatory wear of the body armor. But what I'm getting back to is that we can make the budget work with what we got, and we'll realign the services and how they're delivered to fit within the budget that you set forward.
I have a question. Does TCOL, I know that they'll review the size of a department. Do they give suggestions on
That's no,
budget salaries?
they really don't.
They don't? Okay.
No, sir.
That's all I wanted to know.
I'd like to, speaking of TCO, I would want to let council mayor know that I had my first TCO audit, which they go over the whole department. Staffing, evidence, 40 files, and so forth, and policy goes into that.
Congratulations. Good. It's good feedback.
No drinks.
No pickle juice.
Pickle juice. Oh, man.
Oh, sorry. Was that out loud?
I forgot about that. Sorry.
So
Okay, so
I enjoy the laughter in this room. It makes me feel good.
it's
But
for a change.
if y'all are ready to move forward and see about a motion on this, and then we can go ahead and move forward in the future meetings and have the rest of the discussions before the budget year.
May I get clarification? I'm sorry. Do we actually need a motion, or can we just direct the city administrator to make these changes and then present it back to the council? I'm not sure how that works, and I can't remember.
Thank you. I would generally say that we would want a motion on this
Okay.
because there's been discussion in the past about miscommunications about what was a direction and what was merely a conversation.
Thank you.
And so I would prefer for there to be a motion that includes each of the changes to the proposed budget.
I'll make the motion. I'll go ahead and make a motion to make the amendments to the proposed budget, maintaining the police chief's salary at the current 138. Public works, facility maintenance worker number 1 at 60,000. Facility maintenance worker number 2 at 60,000. City secretary at a range from 80,000 to 100.
101.
Sorry?
101.
Oh, excuse me. Correction, 80,000 to 101. Permit
Mr. Gronzik, for the purpose of the budget, we just need the maximum number, so that would be 101.
101.
Thank you.
It is. Thank you. Permit Tech Development Coordinator is at 55. Utility Billing Coordinator is at 45.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Councilmember Piñeda. Councilmember Esposito,
Aye.
Councilmember Lapointe,
Aye.
Councilmember Piñeda,
Aye.
Councilmember Guronce,
Aye.
Councilmember Saldivar.
Aye.
Motion carries. I think that's all we have for today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, is it that? We have a second from Councilmember Piñeda. Councilmember Esposito,
Aye.
Councilmember Lapointe,
Aye.
Councilmember Piñeda,
Aye.
Councilmember Guronce,
Aye.
Councilmember Saldivar.
Aye.
Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned at 8:34. Thank you.
I should say, actually, thank
Oh,
y'all.